Hello, everyone. This is Cammie.
And this is Steph. This is the Wardolphs Podcast.
On today's episode, we jump into world building with our guests, Anne, Shana, and Pixi. Ladies, welcome to the Wardolphs Podcast. And some of you again.
Hi.
I didn't think y'all invite me back.
Of course, we're inviting you back. We
So
want
this
everybody.
is some kind of ruse.
We can take over.
Yeah, we outnumber you now. No, I'm kidding. It's fine.
Bring it
I
on.
like when you host.
I'll just leave.
No.
No.
We almost literally could with Shana and Anne here because we know you guys love to talk and you guys are so entertaining.
Yup.
Savage oppressed, but yes, we do.
We'll get Pixi out of her shell, and
Yeah.
Good luck.
I know you got stories, girl.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into this. So I want to know, what is world building to you?
Nobody jump and go first.
I'll go first. I will
go first, Cammie.
To me, it is about creating the setting you want to tell your story in. So, yeah, that's kind of the basics.
I think that's a good description of world building. I know for me, world building has always been for me the concept of what am I constructing for my players to play in? Because sometimes world building depends on what system you're running to. Can very much influence.
That is true.
For me, I think world building is your first invitation to adventure. It is, if you're writing a book, it's where are we? What's exciting? What makes my world different? What am I bringing to the table? And then when you're at the table playing a TTRPG or in a LARP, it's about what is it about this that is the hook that is going to capture the imaginations of people and allow them to participate in the world building either actively with like front story at the table or building from a session zero. To me, a lot of people, celebrate DMs for world building, but I ain't doing it in a vacuum, y'all. I'm out here in these streets with a bunch of weirdos making bad decisions together. But yeah, that's kind of how I think about it. Is like the first step is asking the question, where do I want to play and where do I want other people to play with me?
I think Anne nailed it for us too, because in our house we include it in most of our session zeros. It gives so much character buy-in when they have attachments to the world. And I also prefer to world build with friends or other players because the different insights and ideas keep the world from feeling so stifled, and it makes it more vibrant and diverse. And I even talk to like family members and friends who don't game, and even coworkers. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this idea? What do you think would happen in this situation? And that really definitely helps with like writer's block.
That's really cool. Cool way to do it. Which is actually the next question. What methods do you use in your world building? What do you really enjoy about it?
I kind of like to, when I was a baby player many, many years ago, one of the first DMs that I ever had, he actually joked about the fact that his first DM said that he built every world around a well. And that well was where everything would start. And he would build a little village around the well, and then the village would have to have a backstory. So now he has a backstory for the kingdom, but he would start with a well. And I think that the well can be anything. I'll be very honest. When I was in my teens and 20s, every game world I have, there is a romance novel somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. It's not a good romance novel necessarily, but it's somewhere in there. And the players may never meet the characters that the romance novel that this game world was built on, but it's there. But I think everybody has that one little kernel of growth, and it grows from there.
I think I think it was Pixi who brought up like connecting with characters and making sure that they're brought along for the world, brought along for the world building of it all. My most important question I ask players at the table when I'm getting ready to like start thinking about where we're going to be, if I haven't determined that yet, is what does your character, what's the type of thing they really want to achieve? You know, what's the type of game you want to play, right? That is a really big part of it, but that tells me what type of storyline, what tropes do they want to navigate, where what do they love about other stories like that, like the one that they're sort of imagining for themselves. Which ones that are already out there in the world do they like if we're playing vampire, like, is this what we do in the shadows? Is it Twilight? Is it True Blood? Like, it, what is the vibe? What is the parts of this that matter to you? And then on top of that, after they have a goal, it's who wants to see you fail, because that is just them doing my homework for me. And in a way where they feel excited to meet or to encounter or be challenged by whatever this knife is that they've handed me to stab them with, consensually, of course. Um, but that is a really big part of my world building, and I think some people would say that's putting the cart before the horse, but I feel like that is the um, most important dance that I do at the table, is what do the players want to play, and how can I yes and what they want.
Always remember you need to know what type of cart you have before you know the horse that can pull it.
True.
So that's a very good thing to do. And one of the important things I always find when I'm world building now in my I've been doing this for 30 years, you know, more than 30 years, but once you understand that it's not just your game, I mean, it can be for some tables, that's healthy, but there's also it's our game. And there is a very important distinction when you're looking at your gaming group of, is it me against my players, or is it my players and me doing something fun together and we're against the story that I've built? And so that's something to really really focus on when you're building your campaign or your game world or whatever you're building. You have to think, what's my end goal and what's my players end goal?
Yeah.
Who are my players?
And Shana, you're so right, because it really is like, people sometimes forget when they're DMing or GMing that, like, you're at the table too. You deserve you're not just a service provider. That is part of what you're doing, but it has to be a place you want to gallivant as well. Pixie, I want to invite you to share if you have
Interrupt
thoughts
us.
as well. Sorry.
I'm sorry. What was the question? What are your methods? Because I don't
Yeah.
I don't build worlds with games in mind. It's either like a bunch of us are sitting around in between game or campaigns during our normal gaming session, and then we're like, let's make a pantheon, or let's make a map.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for maps in real life and in game, and I've been making maps since I started playing back in the late 90s. And Incarnate's a great free web page for that if you want to use it. And they have a pro subscription for fun stuff. And like sometimes I'll just make a map and then start in this place and like, what's going on here? Like, let's make this a giant volcano and this is a swamp by it, and I go from there. What kind of people or creatures live here? And we did, for a pantheon, we just wrote a bunch of domains on index cards, randomly drew a couple and picked one and went from there, and created um, intricate religions for various domains, for just for fun. And maybe they'll be used in a game later, and maybe not. Maybe they'll just sit on the shelf and collect dust. But we just build for the fun of it, honestly.
That
I
Your
sounds
think
like a pretty
your
amazing idea.
your group has multiple people DMing the same game, don't they?
Um, I have two groups, and they consist of like the same three people. And I'm not. We don't. We just. I
I
don't.
think
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I think one thing that you pointed out really draws a strong parallel to Shayna's start with the well analogy, because the well is just the thing that is the font, right, from which the rest of it is going to start. And sometimes it is hard, much like being asked a very direct question that might be an assumption. Like sometimes it's like you need to just start by making one choice. And sometimes when you feel frozen uh for ideas, it's just a matter of having those things in your arsenal, like specific tools that you can use, right? Like I think the domain idea is amazing for
Yeah.
setting up a pantheon, setting up a whatever this the seed of inspiration is, and going from there. I really like tools like the quiet year, is a great map game, and it basically allows you to build a community collaboratively at the table, and define the struggles of living in that community after the collapse of civilization. And so you can really, there are other great examples of this. I believe the McElroys have used this in their D&D podcast as well, to build a world and then play in it using whatever system. So you can kind of use the quiet year to build together and then play within that world that you've created. And I find that to be good. There's also the deck of many things, which is obviously I'm saying obviously, and I shouldn't, because maybe there are people out there who haven't heard of it before. The deck of many things is an iconic D&D magical item, where you draw from a deck of major arcana cards, and good things and bad things may happen to you, up to and including, oh cool, you have all the money in the world and everything is great for you and have some more levels, and oh no, you've died instantly and your soul is trapped in the ninth circle of hell. That is, by the way, the card that I chose, because I was like, this is me, I'm doing it, I'm playing D&D, and that was the first one I chose, and I was dead immediately. And that it's crazy. But they released a inspired by that. Watsy made the deck of many things and the book of many things, which is basically an inspirational deck that you can either use as the magic item at your table, or they give you several different ways to do almost like tarot spreads to build out your backstory for your character, or to build out the current struggles that the world is going through as you enter your adventure, or what your quest line might be, or to build out a dungeon. And so I definitely recommend that tool, because if you just need something random to get the juices flowing, sometimes it's as simple as, like we said, having a tool. And immediately, even if you disagree with what's been drawn or what's been presented, then at least that's an opinion you have. I don't want to play that game, or I hate that idea, when what I prefer is this. And then you're started. And that's really the key, is to be able to get that's really the key, is to be able to get yourself started.
I used the Rod of Seven Parts as a inspiration for a campaign one time. Blew it up into, I let that be the seed, like you were talking about the deck of many things. My players never even came close to it. one one of my tools is to build a frame, and it's usually some kind of inspiration like that, or sometimes I will draw a map and let the world tell me what it wants to be. Um, but like the well, I always have some central location that's usually pretty pivotal. It's quiet. It's usually a little tavern, a little town called Wayside. I had a friend who would put Delo as that same kind of little town. And
Mine's
anybody
called Yonder.
is it? That's
Yonder. If you find Yonder, you know where everything started.
well, Delo made me cracked me up because that's an actual city in Mississippi. He just
Mm.
thought it was hilarious that it was a three-letter city with an apostrophe in it. He didn't believe it was real at first. Anyway, so I will, build the campaign from there. But I learned over time, and this is just for me personally, it's not how everybody should do it. I build a framework. I hang the important stories all over that framework, and then I let the players with their ideas, fill in the gaps. When they start saying, I bet this is what's going on, I'm writing it down.
You're like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, what a genius. You figured out
You
Oh,
my
figured it out. So
of course.
yeah.
I
No,
will
that
also
is
say that one of the tools that I'm bad to use to organize a game world is called World Anvil. And I don't want to give them a
mhm.
plug necessarily, but they are a very, very fun tool to use. And every year they do their summer workshop. And they have a thing where they give random prompts, just random writing prompt. And the current game world that my players are playing in, that my first time doing their summer workshop thing was going on, and I got so many great ideas just from the random questions that they would be asking with these prompts. And anything you can think of to give you just a little writing prompt will create something
Yeah.
completely amazing out of it. And it doesn't matter if it's never used, if it's never heard. It's something that's in the back of your toolbox you may be able to use against your players or use for your players at a later time.
Yeah. I really love the idea of being able to imagine a world that is sort of ever evolving at the table. And if my players decide to zig when I thought they were going to zag, then and we end up like I really learned this from a really talented GM friend of mine, where he's always asking us like, man, and what do you think Tiamat's lair would look like? And I'm like, hold my beer, I'll tell you. And then I'm like, wait a second,
I just did this
I just
job.
did. Hold on. But we love it because now we all have ownership in the space, and it's such,
Yeah,
again, invitation is like the strongest word to me, because that's what when it's firing on all cylinders. I'm saying something that's inviting you to participate. You're saying something that's inviting me to, hit the ball back to you. And part of that, I think, that's important is when you're building worlds, it's not just building, locations, it's building characters who have uh goals. And so another tool that I do is something that I really learned in acting school, which is I need to have a super objective. Anyone that's important, whether or not I think the characters may or may not interact with them, but I need to have like 4 or 5 people who want to accomplish something in this world that has something to do with the framework of like with a theme of the campaign. And that way, if they change their minds, or if they, figure something out too fast, well, I know what that BBEG is going to do because they have a goal. So what is the next thing they would do to accomplish their goal? If you walk into if you walk into a game expecting your players to do what you think they're going to do, you'll be waiting for a while, because it gets crazy. And so being able to have that, the towns may stay the same, but the people who operate within them, and if they, choose to go one way, maybe they've ignored a certain situation, and that can progress. But it's easier to do that background creation work if you have a sense of what people are trying to do.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I love that method too. I first learned about that from Brindlewood Bay because they would offer lots of prompts like how did your character know the deceased, because it's all murder mysteries in this game. And
Mm-hmm.
I've used that in other games like, oh, this town and your hometown are uh, serious school sport rivals, and a few years ago the school A stole school B's mascot. How did that escalate? And then they would come back and they would refer to that situation for like games and games later, and it really does help with the character buy-in and, like I said, the character attachment and um, etc. Relationships they'll build with other people. Or which school did you go to? And then it goes on from there too. And it's just amazing how the players themselves can add to your world.
And the thing is, like, we're building like we said, a framework, or what am I trying to say, like, when before you build a building on a foundation. Thank you, English. is my first language. Thank you for coming. So the other thing about it is like using your tools to kind of like put a pin literally in things as you have ideas is really great. So like when
Oh
I'm
yeah.
on Roll20 building out campaigns, I'm out there creating the handouts ahead of time, and then they're there when I want them. I don't have to go, oh, what was that thing that I was thinking about? And then I within that tool can like just share that with the party immediately and allow them to do stuff. Or if you're building maps, there's like a dungeon scrawl integration with Roll20, so you can draw maps together live. So if you're making a home base or a bastion, or anything like, or the town that you're all going to start in session 0, if you all want to build it together because you're all from there, whatever the case may be,
That's a cool idea. That's
you
a
can
cool
really just,
feature.
yeah, you can just build it right within the VTT, and then hold it, like keep that map there and return to it as time goes on. But yeah, I think the key is to find, there's no like right set of tools. It's just what are the tools that work with the way your brain works. I have somebody who just sketches and then scrolls back through this huge document of just different images that they thought of when they were thinking of different things, and that's not like enough of a jumping off point for me. But if it is for you, then that's great. All you need to have is a working system that your neurodiverse brain can
Yeah.
operate. Yeah.
Have any of y'all ever used the dice method to build a map?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that once. Yeah, because there was an old D&D thing back in second ed, where you actually had like the World Builder's Handbook or something. It was one of the blue books, and it came with like really cool little tool ideas like that. And I did that once, and that was some crazy stuff. But it's fun. It can be really, really different. And I'll admit, I'm one of those people that I'm very structured about how certain things work. And if I'm right, like I did a game almost 15 years ago now that was based around 1866 London. The players were vampire and monster hunters, basically. And I got obsessed with London at that period. And everybody would joke about the fact that next thing we know, Shana's going to have a map of 1866 London. And the next game they came to, I did not have an 1866 one. It was 2 years earlier than that. And it was the cholera map. And I had basically, it was freaking huge. This map literally was, I had to like paste it on pasteboards. And I'm like, well, we know exactly where our office is now, don't we, everybody? This is Fluster Square. It's right here. And but it was helpful for me to structure it in reality. Now, did it matter to my players? No, they didn't give a shit. But it mattered
you
to
had
me.
what you needed.
Right.
Yeah.
My neurodivergence needed it desperately.
Right.
Yeah, I needed it so much. And my husband teased me. I'm just about to bring to close my current game world. And he told me, he's like, you're a map fanatic. He says, I have to have a map. I have a map of every game world I've ever run since I was 16 years old. He's like, my next challenge to you is there is not a map at this game world. It can't be mapped. Figure it out. And I went, I don't know if I can do that. He goes, it's your challenge. He says, you can have maps of certain locations. He says, but you can't map the game world. I don't know why you can't map the game world, but that's my DM challenge to you, is you can't map this game world. Yeah. And I'm like, floating islands it is. And I've been spending the last 3 or 4 months now working on, how did this planet blow up? Why are the islands floating? How does everything work? And that's been my cattle. That's been my well for this game world. But
isn't that like the best thing? Like suddenly you're thinking completely different than you were before, and it really is.
I'm hoping that it's going to make it a lot more creative. I am bad to do the same thing to my players. I will walk up to a player before we're starting a game, and I'm like, I'd like to give you a role play challenge. You've never done this as a role play challenge. And it got to be kind of a fun thing that we would do, to where the whole group got together and basically said, we've given ourselves a role play challenge for the next game. We're all going to play siblings. Mm. And we don't know what game world you're going to build for that, but we all want to play siblings or cousins, or we're all related to each other. We're all one family, and we all want to be a royal family of brats. That's what we want to play. We want to play a bratty royal family.
It's love
and
it.
And that game world that I built for that, I have run 6 games in it, and currently I'm running 2 in it right now, and it has survived for 18 years.
That's
Wow.
There are
fantastic.
7 different maps. We have like a 400-year history, and it worked perfectly. But all because they told me we want to be a bunch of bratty kids, bratty
So
royal kids.
this is very interesting to me because I am a chaos gremlin when it comes to world building, and I am firmly of the belief that if I overcommit, if I over prepare, then I will be so overwhelmed by information that I stop listening. So the biggest challenge that I've brought to myself is figuring out how much work actually I need to do, what's the most important, and then what to let just be impulsive at the
Yeah,
table. And that doesn't work for everybody. But I will say that that challenge it's released me from the responsibility and the weight of remembering, like, in 1863, this, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. But with the help of technology and Control F, you can very quickly, search your notes for things. If you
Mhm.
have them in a Google Doc, that's really helpful. I also do a lot of like inserting bookmarks things. But really, my sense is very much like your floating island idea. Once I've got all the plates spinning in the air, whatever weird astral sea is between them, we're gonna figure out how to navigate that on the day. But it's also okay to say to your players, "I need a second. Everybody, go get some cheese. I don't know why it's cheese, but I need RPG cheese time. Go to the
Everyone loves
charcuterie
cheese.
board. Entertain yourselves. Give me 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes of like silence. Like, don't bully yourself into having to come up with something faster than you're ready if
yeah.
it's gonna make you uncomfortable. I feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Don't
Oh,
do it. Don't be a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
I've literally had to say the words, well, the winter passes uneventfully as I take a stack of 17 pages and throw them over to the side because
yeah.
they did one thing, and I'm like, I was going to have an entire storyline here, and you decided to send sending to the person who just got kidnapped by the demon, and I guess she's not going to get demon tortured over the winter now. Y'all just figured this problem all okay, And I have literally had a DM one time. He had a princess kidnapped by a wizard on a wyvern, and he was one of those beloved. We love him to death, Lowry. We love him so much, but he never knows the stats of his monsters. And the wizard was riding a wyvern, and we killed it in 1 round. It was dead. And
Yeah.
he was like, "You can't catch it." We're like, "Of course we can. The fly spell goes faster than a wyvern. A wyvern's only so blah, blah. And we killed that thing better than Disco. Saved the princess. The bad guy's a corpse, and he's just like, "Guys, can we go get lunch? I know it's only 10 a.m., but can we go get lunch? Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
get lunch."
Lowry
What
is
happens?
also he was Lowry was also the reason I had that moment Anne was talking about where how much do I plan versus how much do I ad lib? Because I used to write entire worlds. I was just, measuring the corners on the building, I was painting
Yeah.
the buildings, I was, naming all the kids, and counting the fleas on the dog, and then he would just go, I'm just going to go down the road.
And you were
You
like, but
know,
what about the lane? The
yeah,
lane.
and
It's
There's this
so
never
ominous
beautiful.
man in the corner. Don't you want to talk to the ominous man in the corner? Yeah,
and he's
Strider
like,
just
yeah,
like
nah.
throws Shattered Nozzle into the
yep.
lake and moves on.
So
Uh,
so yeah, he was notorious for that. And the
yeah.
players would all be like, "Oh, let's go see what is over there." We're just going to go along with it. And I'm like, at least the party is together. So that's when I started just doing an outline and go, well, here we go. This is what we're going to do. So it's
What is.
Well,
interesting the challenge that he threw down to you with no map. I
Mm,
realized that building my world in space, you know, galaxies,
mhm.
or solar systems way apart. I don't have maps, and I that never occurred to me.
and when you go
So,
to a planet, it's not just like a cool town, it's a
It's a
whole ass
planet.
planet. Yeah.
right,
Tatooine
Hmm.
probably has more than sand on it, George.
Yeah.
right, and I'm trying to keep the so your 1882
Mhm.
knowledge. I like to feel like I am pretty competent at nuclear fusion
Yep.
because I was trying to figure out how my Terran ships worked. And I'm, just
Yeah.
like, well, I can't, they're not gasoline powered. We
Well,
don't want unstable,
Well,
power.
something to
let
So
me
really
ask you, I guess, like what is everybody's like Achilles heel? Like the one question you hear from a player and you're like, "Ah, god damn it, not again. I still don't know how to do this."
ooh,
oh gosh, that's a good question.
Um,
unprepared for names on occasion.
yeah.
Oh
That one
yeah.
happens to me still. And I literally have the fantasynamegenerator.com. That thing is absolutely brilliant. I love that sucker. It stays open all the time. For like, what's the name of this town that we just wandered in? Marywood. Yay! But that. But if they really want to tie me up, get me obsessed with the minutia all of a sudden. Get me obsessed
My
with where this street is or where this is located in your town,
Yeah.
or ask me some background history thing, and I will get. They will hamstring me and be able to plot while I'm trying to figure out what to do right there.
I
Mine is probably if I've put them in some kind of like dream sequence where like I'm like there's a glowing rod on the horizon. You see a plane of waving ferns in front of you. They'll be like, "And what's behind me?" I'm just like more fucking ferns. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared. Don't ask me questions. Just touch the MacGuffin and be grateful. Jesus. Like that is it's often like when I've planned something for a specific character where like I really think I know like what they're going to be interested in, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I guess like could I is the ground like fertile? Could I like plant something in it?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess let's find out." Like it's crazy how that happens, and it happens like literally every time.
Oh yeah, you
Or
just get so used to it.
if I say like, "Hey, here are your three options," like I had someone in a game that I'm running professionally where like these people have told me exactly the type of game they want to play. It's probably not the type of game I would choose to run, but they do not love role play. They love everything else. They love a dungeon delve. They love everything that isn't world building, basically, and it's a really interesting challenge, much like your island challenge, because they will ask questions about like whether something can hold their weight that I would never think to ask. I'm like, I guess it's a broken table, but you're a gnome, so go for it. But yeah, it feels crazy sometimes when they when a party is so focused on the mechanical aspects of the game that in my mind it could just be a board game, but they're not living that world building life with
And see,
with me at all.
my players get obsessed with the role playing aspects of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a game that's been going. We're in like session 70 something now, and we play about 6 hours when we play. And the main, I guess he's the grandpa character. He's Grandpa Gnome, and he's just the sweet little old guy who's telling these whippersnapper kids what to do. But the system that we use has a hindrance system in it, and he has the hindrance cautious. And he's
Mhm.
going to play that cautious hindrance to the hilt every time. And unfortunately, the kids listen to him. And this game had 7 dungeons they had to accomplish. I'm in session 70 something. They have successfully found all of them, accidentally blew up the first one, intentionally blew up the second one, and are still trying to figure out if they're ready to conquer. I'm like, would you bitches just do this?
Yeah.
For the love of all that is holy, Ellis, buy off that damn hindrance. I'm going to kill you. And it's.
It is so funny that that absolutely happened in a game I was playing in of Curse of Strahd, where it was too scary. We were told like, "Hey, you shouldn't go, never go there, never go there,"
So
and
we
then we
didn't.
didn't. And then finally, he had to be like, "Okay, above the table, guys, like you have to go to this temple. Like it's going to be great, and you're ready. I promise you, mechanically speaking, like it'll be a challenge, it'll be fun, but that's where we're going.
Down and says, "Go until you are ready, my son." Yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's it going to take to make you guys believe you've done all this crazy stuff?" And I was like, "You're right. Let's go into your whacked out. You should never go there temple."
I literally had the god of death show up and go, "Listen, you have to do these 6 things so you can kill him. Please, and all I want, I don't care. I need that guy dead. Everything else, I will grant you whatever you need. Just kill this guy, which means you have to do the 6 remaining dungeons."
Yeah.
So they convinced 2 other groups to do 2 of the dungeons for them. I'm like, oh, Jesus God.
Pixi, do you feel like there's... Oh my gosh, I just threw my pen unbidden into the sky. It's fine. It's gone now. It doesn't matter. It holds no court here. Pixi, do you feel like you have an Achilles heel when it comes to world building, or something you leave out or challenges you a lot?
Oh, I'm awful with names. I'm awful at finishing any project, but I feel like with world building, worlds are always evolving, so they're never fully done. Um, I I do know, like, because Shana brought up Savage Worlds, and it made me think of a game where the whole plot hindered on this assassination attempt of the king of the area, and I made the mistake of having it happen. It happened in front of players, and the players happen to have the right adventure cards where they're like, take all the damage, heal them exactly, and they could not be killed in front of the players, so it had to happen like in between games off camera, because I was like, this is the whole plot. Stop being helpful.
Yeah, I have that. I have a group of players that they hate off camera stuff, and they hate not having the ability to stop something. And when I was a younger player, I would just make it happen. This is on rails. You have to hang on for it. And at one point, they were basically like, no, we're going to try to save this. We're going to try to save this person who you're clearly trying to assassinate. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to let them do it. And it's one of those stories they tell every day. The people who were able to save the young adult dragon from being killed by the evil demon dragon, and to buy it back, a cayenne pepper involved, and wind talking and all kinds of shit. And that NPC didn't die, and it ended up being great for the game. And and they do it to me all the time. And sometimes if I want to kill somebody, they weren't there for it. It's just the only nice thing to do to them, unless they're so far away or it happens so suddenly. I mean, I had a prince get killed from a lance to the head once during a joust that they were not expecting, but they couldn't affect it. They couldn't stop it, and there wasn't resurrection in this world. So what did the players do? They all got drunk, and one of them loudly stood up and smashes his beer and goes, nope, we're going to figure out how to resurrect our dead prince. And all of a sudden my entire story just got picked up and thrown out the window, because that's what they were going to do now. And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure that out. And you know who that was. Of course, Candy. It was Lowry. We brought him back again. Yep. But, and that's the whole thing. It's one of the things I was going to say is there's a difference between, to me, world building prep before the players enter this device, or players help you build the device before your first game. That's, to me, that really is world building. Mm-hmm. Once you have started the game, once the game is in process, now it's world living. The world is alive now. It has blood, it has the heart, it has limbs, it has people in it making it move and go and strive. And you get to still keep building on it, yes, but it is now a group project. And
it's happening.
And to me, there's this sense of world building that doesn't take into effect the story I want to tell, that doesn't take into effect any of what I really want to do with it, or the players, or even the game system. That's the build. The first crafting should be that. And then as I introduce, well, what system am I going to play? Well, now I have to, if I'm going to introduce D&D, I have to use D&D's magic. So I've got to figure out how that goes. That's how magic works. And you have to, that starts influencing your world building. You have your kernel, you have your map that made your world, and then you have the things that influence it as you go.
So there's also an aspect of this that I think is important, because there's like, sometimes I think for myself a sense that like a game is either homebrew or it's not, and it can be two things.
Yes,
so like
it can be both.
I play a lot of established I have played through a lot of established Wizards campaigns, right, for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And the thing that's crazy about it is like every time I talk about one, like the one that's probably closest to what exists in the book is Curse of Strahd, because it's such a strongly thematic game with things that kind of have to happen. Like how they happen can change, but they kind of, it ticks down to a finale. You're facing a vampire, right? And then I met my husband and his group of people. We call them the Small Fam because they have a Discord server called Small Folk, where what they do is they change every existing Wizards campaign into I'm Tiny Animals Redwall style. And so we are currently playing like Tomb of Annihilation, but we're playing it in not in a jungle, but in like a bog, like a Scottish bog kind of area. And we're all tiny animals. The rule is you have to fit under a wizard's hat. And so they work together on world building, all the DMs and the players across all of their games that happen in the valley is what we call it. And now I'm saying we, so I'm a part of this now. It's not just something I observe respectfully. I've fully drunk the Kool-Aid. But that's awesome that they're able to sort of take that seed, take that well, and then expand upon it. And one thing a resource that I think is really important is DM's Guild, because you have such an intelligent community that loves these games. And when it comes to D&D, like writing community-based content, if you do want to monetize it, like really the only way to do that is through DM's Guild. And so there are years and years of fabulous campaign guides, setting guides, ways to change Strahd from a man to a woman, ways to change all other characters or a hamster, or in their case it was a vampire bat. I mean, come on,
I was
let's
about
be
to
real.
say vampire bat makes more sense. Yeah.
It was Batrovia, I believe, instead of Barovia. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things there, and then there are also little nuggets. Like for me, I don't like love making taverns or making shops, but there are lots of people who have just made books of taverns or books of shops that you can just put into your world. Or let's say I'm running Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden right now for a bunch of people, and I don't love the first 2 chapters of the book. I want something more dwarfy. We've got a dwarf in the party. Then I go onto DM's Guild and I'm able to find other things that people have written for Icewind Dale, or like expanded lore for certain regions in Faerun. And like that's just like one of the best resources that I feel like newer folks are maybe shy away from when they're expanding existing campaigns with their homebrew and like building it out. But sometimes it's really nice to just grab a one shot and insert it into your game, and you may end up with a whole new, like Shana has pointed out, a whole new focus of your group if you I don't want to say if you do it right or wrong, but like if it resonates, like that will be an important part of your version of that world.
Yep.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can hear the outro music.